Lithuania, the largest Baltic country, was the first to break loose of the Soviet Union. But is it any good to start your business there today? Let's talk about it now! Hi, I'm Oliver and welcome back to the channel Ask Me Startup, where we talk about startups, small businesses and the world that surrounds them. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and pushing the notification bell so YouTube lets you know whenever uploading new content. If you're into startups, if you have a small business, if you plan to start a business, please feel free to download a free startup checklist, link in the description below. Okay, today's topic, Lithuania. Is it any good to start your business there? So as always, we take a look on the facts about the country first. So Lithuania, being the largest Baltic country with the capital Vilnius, has roughly 2.8 million inhabitants and a GDP PPP per capita of about $38,000 US. Now that already tells you that it is way advanced than its neighbors, and that's why it is actually considered as one of the high income economies by the United Nations. Lithuania has a very unique location in the Baltic Sea, neighboring Belarus, Poland, the enclave of Russia, Kaliningrad, and its northern neighbor Latvia. This location has made this country go through a lot of cycles in history, up and down, which did not seem to affect its capabilities to innovate a lot. So if you want to start a business, we like to understand how entrepreneurial are the Lithuanians, because at the end that kind of defines the framework we're in and how easy it will be to start a business and another one as long as we need to in order to get off the ground. And if we take a look at the numbers and compare them to other countries, we have to say the Lithuanians are not the most entrepreneurial on the planet. They're better than its southern neighbor Poland, but maybe not as good as the Estonians. Nonetheless, the government has a clear focus to attract businesses. More on that later in the video. Then, we would also like to understand how is the legal and governmental framework. And if we look at the legal framework, we have to say yes, of course, it is, as you would expect from a member of the European nations, a okayish legal state. However, the governmental practices lack transparency, and Transparency International is ranking Lithuania on rank 38 out of 180 countries they're measuring, giving you an indication that sometimes, and specifically for businesses, transparency isn't always given, and you might not always understand why certain things have to be applied and why not. So if we learn that the Lithuanian government seems to stress out on development tech startups, how is the startup ecosystem? The good thing is there is a startup ecosystem and it is developing over time. And Lithuania has, for instance, the highest growth rate of new fundings in the whole European Union. Of course, they still fall short of Estonia and many other countries, but they're gaining ground. They also have startup hubs and certain VCs allocated specifically in Vilnius in order for you to be able to acquire capital if necessary, or if they think your idea business is interesting enough to do the investment in. Also, finally, there are no Lithuanian brands, but they have got their first unicorn, a company that is selling used clothes online, and it is one of those tech companies Lithuania is trying to establish. But there are other areas you could think of establishing companies, and specifically e-governmental practices seem to be an area Lithuania wants to play in, and they are providing sandboxes where you can play around and establish these ideas that you have, and they give you the opportunity to try and test them out in Lithuania. Hence, e-government and anything digital is actually supported by the Lithuanian government. So the next question you might ask is then, is there a startup visa for me to be able to establish my vision in Lithuania? And the good answer is yes, there is. Lithuania specifically is aware that they need entrepreneurs from all over the world because they want the biggest and best ideas to be resided in their country. Hence, they do provide a startup visa. Now, you would require, as in any other country, to provide your business case, to provide legal documentation. You might not have any fine somewhere in the world. And then they would grant you residency in Lithuania for up to 1 year at the beginning, which can be renewed for you, your wife, your kids, or your husband, vice versa, to stay and work in Lithuania. I need to stress at one point here though. If you Google startup visa for Lithuania, you will 100% not get to the governmental websites, but to companies offering the services for good cause of money to migrate to Lithuania. Now, whether you want to do that or not is not the point, but if I do that for Estonia, the governmental website comes in first. If I do that for Lithuania, it comes on page 3, 4, or 5 on Google. That tells you that the government still is behind its establishment of the startup framework for you to be able to apply for the visa. If you find the website, and the link will be in the description below, you are guided through a step-by-step FAQ type of click button, push button system on the website, which is confusing and not always straightforward. So that already tells you, yes, they have a starter visa, but they might need some improvement for you to make it easier and to get faster. However, and that is important, they have claimed that they're now reducing the amount of time taken to grant your visa or not, down from 30 days to 15, which is, I think, a fair amount and a good speed, because if you want to start a business, you cannot wait, because competition might catch up or have the same idea a couple of weeks later, and then it's too late maybe. So is Lithuania a good place to start your business? And the short answer is yes, it is. Specifically, if you want to start a tech startup. Now, the focus on tech has to do with the labor force skills provided in the country, but also with the clear focus of the government to attract those type of businesses. Why? Because of course they create jobs, and they have created thousands and thousands of jobs in Lithuania due to tech startups. Not all of them are making it through, and maybe Estonia is more promising if you want to create a unicorn. Nonetheless, Lithuania is catching up. All right, everybody. I hope the short video was helpful to you. If so, please leave a comment and have start a discussion. Maybe you started a business in Lithuania and have some experience that you might want to share with us. Or you're thinking about starting a business and are not quite sure what should be the right business to do so. Also, please smash the like button because it helps this channel to grow. Subscribe. Thank you very much for watching that far in the video, and I'm gonna see you next time.